All right, everyone, if you would log in so we can take roll and let this ship set sail this morning. It's the time of year where folks are getting up and going and presenting bills in other committees. We all understand that, but we need to log in, get our quorum in while we can. All right, we've got enough in their places with bright, shiny faces. Let's call this Commerce Committee to order here on this 19th day. Time flies when you're having fun, of the House Commerce Committee. Welcome, everybody. I'm Kevin Vaughn. I'm your erstwhile cruise director today. I want to say thank you to our Vice Chairman, Rush Bricken, for taking on emergency duty last week. I found myself not to be just a little bit under the weather. I was way below the weather. And Vice Chairman Bricken followed the old adage of next man up, and we got through our business that day, and I really appreciate it. So everybody logged in for the roll call. Have the clerks taken the roll? Here we go. Let's do it now. All right. Would the clerks please take the roll?
Mr. Chairman, you have 18 members present. You have a quorum.
Oh, outstanding, outstanding. We will have a good time in here today, taking care of the people's business. We've got a medium-sized calendar today. First up on our calendar is, but first, before we get started, any personal orders? Oh, I see what Chairman Boyd is going to say. Chairman Boyd, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The committee, today I have the honor of being escorted by my lovely wife, Jada, that's up here on the first row. Jada, if you'll wave at everybody. She asked that I not have her stand up, but if you'll make her feel welcome. And Mr. Chairman, I also have from the district a constituent, Miss Helene Cash, is going to be up here hanging out with me today as well, right, sitting next to my wife, if you'll make her feel welcome.
I see Speaker Pro Tem Marsh has an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And today is Lincoln County Hamburger Day on the Hill, and they're already cooking out between here and the Capitol. The Lincoln County Livestock Association is going to cook about 1,200 burgers, and they'll be serving them up on the 8th floor about 11:30 or 12. So please come by and meet our good folks.
Thank you, sir. I hate our folks on live stream can't have a full effect. The wafting of the charcoal is in here. It's a fun day to be in committee. All right. Now we're going to get about today's regular calendar. We are going to hear House Bill 1309, and I believe that is presented by our very own Dr. Martin. Dr. Martin, you're in proper posture, sir.
Thank you,
You're recognized.
Chairman and committee. This is my first ever bill in Commerce Full, so thank you guys. Glad to be a part of y'all. This is an administration bill on behalf of the Mega Site Authority of West Tennessee. Current law states that they cannot operate a wastewater system at deficit. So what this would do, it would allow them to keep the interest income accrued in that pot to make sure they stay at balanced budget. And bipartisanship, we accepted a amendment from Chairman what's his name? Clemens. Chairman Clemens. Man, I was trying to give him a shout out and I forgot about his name. Chairman Clemens gave us a great amendment to accept. So there is an amendment that sunsets his policy after 4 years to make sure that we are staying in balance. So with that, I stand ready for question.
We got a motion on the amendment. Let's get that amendment attached.
I think it already is attached.
Oh, it came.
No?
Yeah.
No, put it back on. Okay.
Hey,
sorry about that.
You let the captain drive the boat there. Newcomer. Is your amendment 5195?
That is correct, sir.
All right, excellent, excellent. All those in favor of placing 5195 on the bill, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. The amendment is attached. You've heard the bill as amended. Any questions? Chair? Representative Hardaway, I saw that hand fly up.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. Just curious as if the sponsor knows my name.
Representative Martin.
Thank you, Chairman. Absolutely. Bow tie. Mr.
There you go.
Representative Hardaway.
Let's move this bill
We
along.
got it. Absolutely.
I've got to cut our bill sponsor some slack. I've served with Clark Boyd every day that I've been in this General Assembly. We came in together, and I was looking at him and could not come up with his last name. And I've only known the man for 8 years. And so, Dr. Brock, this time of year, we're good to go. All right, let's vote. Let's vote on House Bill 1309. Chairman Clemens.
Hey, Mr. Chairman, did you make the mistake of referring to a chiropractor as a doctor?
I'd like to announce that there's going to be a bare knuckle brawl at the Lincoln County Hamburger Day festivities later today. A retort.
No, I appreciate that. Actually, the amendment was from Brock Martin that we added on, not from Chairman Clemens. So we're going to extract that from the record. No bipartisanship in here anymore. Thank you.
All right. All those in favor of House Bill 1309 going on to finance, please signify by saying aye and punch that green button. Anybody want to change their vote? If you do, let's do it now. If not, Madam Clerk, would you count those up?
Mr. Chairman, you have 22 ayes, 0 noes.
With that, House Bill 1309 is off to finance as amended.
Thank you, Chair and Committee.
All right. Next up, we have a visit from Chairman Hawk with House Bill 962. Sir, you're in proper posture. Please tell us about your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members. I hope the joy in this committee continues for at least 5 more minutes as I'm up here. Ladies and gentlemen, House Bill 962 would permissively allow a local government to set up a CBD board. Right now, we have ability for local governments to set up beer boards if they so choose, and most all do. This is something that local PDs have asked me to look into. Right now, they're in a posture where we don't really know exactly what's going on in terms of enforcement on these laws. And this would allow locals to do that. I will be very specific and thank you to some of the members who gave me some feedback and communication and calls last night. I'll reiterate, this is permissive. This is a piece of legislation that would still leave primacy with whatever state entity is regulating hemp, whether that be the Department of Agriculture, which it is currently, or should a bill go forward, which it could likely go forward, would give primacy of regulation and enforcement on the ABC. This is not something that locals would get just automatically. They have to sign an agreement with whatever the enforcement agency is with the state of Tennessee. It's not a foregone conclusion that it happens, but it's really a hand. It's local government giving a hand to a state entity should they choose to go down that road. Hopefully I've described it properly and welcome any questions or comments that may come my way, Chairman Vaughn.
Thank you, Chairman Hawk. I appreciate your analogy to the local beer board. That's very helpful in describing what you envision for this board. And again, this was permissive. I know that one thing that I do hope that some of these folks do is to maybe tone down the garishness of the appearance of some of these facilities as you drive down the roadway. Folks in this business tend to not want to blend in with their neighbors. And so I do hope, encourage local governments to look into that. Chairman Clemens, I saw your hand go up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate the explanation of this and all 4 local decision-making on this, similar to the beer boards. But would this ultimately have the impact of, so if a county decided to do this, that they would be allowed ultimately to deny any permits and basically create, I'll call it a dry county of sorts with regard to these products?
Chairman Hall.
Thank you, Chairman. The initial permitting process goes through the state. Whichever entity would do the permitting, the local government would only participate in enforcement of laws. So the permit still begins at the state level. There is a section in this piece of legislation that says upon, I think, a third offense, if someone is deemed to be in violation for a third time, then a permit could be pulled. But the initial permit process still remains, again, the primacy with the state of Tennessee and whichever organization would oversee these laws.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chairman Lafferty.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, sponsor. There's another bill that's moving, I think you're aware of, the bill that is going to put the regulatory authority with the ABC. This almost seems to me as though they will pay their fees for their, I'm going to equate it to a liquor license. It'll be a hemp license of some sort to the state. If they are covered under that type of licensing as a liquor entity, again, equivocating, they're not a liquor store, they're a hemp store. Is this going to be like they're also being regulated as a beer distributor? Are they doubling up, I guess, is what I'm asking, from the state level to the local level? If they're regulated as a liquor store, are they like similar to a liquor store? Are they also going to be regulated similarly to a beer store?
Chairman Hall.
Thank you. And using the analogy of a beer board is just an analogy, just a similar type mechanism where a local government would be set up. They convene city council as a beer board, then they would adjourn that, then they would convene a hemp board and go forward. So the analogy to the beer board is just that, an analogy. In terms of the permitting and the fees, if they sell liquor, yes, they would have to have a liquor license to do that. If a liquor store chooses to sell hemp additionally, yes, they would have to have an additional permit to do that. So there would be 2 permits for both of those products that require permits in the state of Tennessee, should a business choose to go down that road. Does that help?
Chairman Lafferty.
So this could be potentially, in addition to paying their license to the state, they could also additionally end up having to pay a smaller fee to a local municipality for enforcement purposes.
Chairman Hall.
If a local entity were chosen to participate with the state enforcement mechanism, it would be $250. A permit fee would be $250 to the local government, yes. And that is specifically and permissively for enforcement of the rules and laws in the state.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, sponsor.
Thank you.
Representative Hardaway.
Thank you, Chairman. And I apologize to the sponsor. Didn't have a chance to get with you on this beforehand. Just so I understand completely the relationship, if a local government entity decides to set this up, is there an appeals process for the decisions of the local board on the local level and state level?
Chairman Hall.
Thank you. And I'll make a clarifying point to your initial comments. If a local government sets this up, they are only doing it at the request and behest of the state organization that oversees this. So there is a partnership, so the state would have to approve the local government getting involved. In terms of an appeal process, I would venture to say, since I'm looking to set this up similar to how a beer board is set up, I would venture to say that if a violation occurs or a perceived violation occurs with a business improperly selling a product, that there could and would be some type of an appeal, much like other substances is the first word that comes to my mind. Beer, liquor comes to mind. If there's a violation, I'm sure there would be an appeal. That's not set up in this particular legislation. That's already set up in state law, I would believe, Representative Hardaway.
All right, and would we anticipate rulemaking coming to GovOps on this? If so, it'll save me some questions.
Chairman Hall?
I have not followed exactly. I've been in a couple committees already on this piece of legislation. I have not followed what the next step of this legislation takes me to. It may very well, I'm not sure if this bill goes out where the motion may be to send to chairman. But if it goes to GovOps, I'm happy to see you there.
Always look forward to anybody coming to GovOps. We have fun.
You done, Representative Hardaway? Thanks. Chairman Hall, I hope you'll indulge me for this. We're all going to be back here next week, and we've got some questions here among this board about some of the functionality of it. I don't think anybody has a problem with the concept of what we're trying to do, but I think you're hearing some good feedback on the bill. Why don't we go through, I know Leader Camper has a question, but personally, I would feel better, and I apologize for not getting, but this is the first time I've heard this bill due to being out. If we could grind on the sausage a little bit more, make this thing better and more clear with regards to some of these relationships within interlocal government. And because I like what's happening here, because local governments did not get to pass a referendum to accept hemp products into their community. So I appreciate the fact that you're establishing something for them to have a voice with the way that these products are regulated and in their community. But I think that we've talked about some issues here that were kind of in the abstract on our replies. And I would feel better if we took another week and added some language on that, if that's unless the committee wants to vote this out today, which I'll bend to the will of the committee. But I think we can make this bill a little bit better, a little bit tighter, where we all understand these relationships and get it on out of here next week if that's the committee's desire. Does that sound like a plan for everybody? And again, I apologize. I've been playing catch up since I got back. And I think that this would probably be we can make this better with just a few more words on it. And if you don't mind, I'd like to offer you some closing remarks and statements for us to ponder as we get this thing wordsmithed up a little bit more.
I'm always at the will of the committee. I think if I'm either over answering or under answering questions, my apologies to be in the abstract. It is just that. It is an abstract. I'm mirroring precisely what is happening in the beer boards locally now, with the exception that it only is created locally. A board of this nature is only created locally with the permission and upon agreement with the state entity that has primacy of enforcement on this. So forgive me if I've not explained the bill as well as I should have.
No, I think what's happened is that we've had some folks contemplating some relationships in this that we might want to have a little bit more precision in the statute itself. And so we avoid confusion later on. Again, I fully support the concept. Whenever I first saw that, I went, wow, I wish I'd have thought of that. But I think that we can make this better to where we can move this thing on out, if you would indulge us that. And so without objection, we're going to roll this thing 1 week.
Thank you, Chairman, members.
You recognize Chairman Powers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to mention you sent me digging for my thesaurus a while ago when you came up with the word garish. And so I went back and looked, and the words in here that it goes with the synonyms are flamboyant, flaring, flashy, and gaudy. And I just want to thank you for helping to expand my vocabulary and that of the committee and anyone that might be watching. So thank you.
We do our best, Chairman Powers. We do our best. Next up is House Bill 373 by Representative Shaw. Wow, enthusiastic motion and second. You're in proper posture. Representative Shaw.
I am so excited. I've had fun just watching the committee, Mr. Chairman. Thank you so much. House Bill 373.
Excuse me, sir. I see we've got a couple of amendments
Yes, sir.
that we need. Do we need to get both of them attached, or you
Just-
prefer one
just-
to the other?
Just the one. We need amendment 5339.
We got a motion and a second. All in favor of attaching, which is listed as Amendment 2, but the code, drafting code's 5339. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? No. Your bill's amended, sir. Please tell us about amended House Bill 373.
The amendment just takes it back to 1 year rather than 2 years. If a tattoo artist is coming to Tennessee, they can work under the apprenticeship of someone in Tennessee with a license for 1 year. And they can go on their own after that first year. That's all the amendment does. So this is about tattoos. If anybody need a tattoo in here, any new artist that's coming to Tennessee is welcome to work under some folks here for 1 year and become a license on their own. That's basically the gist of the bill. Stand for any questions.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sponsor. Representative Hardaway is inquisitive.
Thank you, Chairman. I got to know, sir, all of the legislators have some area of expertise that's usually connected to either their profession or experiences.
Yes.
So I know you're not a tattoo artist, but has your canvas been painted on?
Yes, sir, it has. But I cannot tell
That's
you
quite
where.
enough, sir. It's quite enough.
Mr. Chairman? No.
Mr.
Now, I
Sponsor,
wanted to
Mr.
say
Sponsor.
that if he just need to know, he could follow me outside. And
Hey, it is definitely time to call the question on House Bill 373. All those in favor, Madam Clerk, would you prepare the board? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye and pressing yes, or no. You can say no and press red. Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Mr. Chairman, you have 22 ayes, 0 noes.
All right, thank you so much. Representative
Thanks, sir.
Shaw, always a pleasure. Good to see you. You are off to calendar and rules.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Now we're going to hear House Bill 972 by Representative Boot McCalman. Representative McCalman, you've got some amendments for your bill?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I do. I have two. First one is drafting code 003869.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor of attaching 3869 to House Bill 972, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Your attached Amendment 1 is attached. How about Amendment 2?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It is drafting code 004157.
Got a motion and a second on that. All those in favor of attaching Amendment 2, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed, no. Your bill's amended, sir. Please talk to us about what it does.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and members, always a pleasure to be here in Commerce Cruise Lines. I'm still having trouble finding the bocce court. What House Bill 972 is, it's basically a cleanup bill on last year's Motion Act. It basically clears up some language with regards to proper signage. It lets these towing companies for abandonment and lien notices use U.S. Postal Service. Last year, we removed that provision. Now they can use U.S. Postal Service as one of the notification tools as long as it's 3-day or sooner. And then it specifies with regards to cars on private property, lessening the window from 48 hours to 12 hours, unless the vehicle has been is creating a hazard or blocking access to public or private property, or is parked illegally. That vehicle can be towed immediately. Worked with the Truckers Association as well as the Towing Association to get this palatable for all groups. And with that, I stand ready for questions and renew my motion.
All righty, thank you, sir. Chairman Clemens has a question for you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I apologize. This one snuck up on me after last week. The concerns still remain from so few people in my district who run residential, multi-unit residential, and people are illegally parking in their parking lots, and they've found that booting was the most effective thing. And so do either your amendments allow for the owners of multi-unit residential parking lots to boot, or does it prevent it under all circumstances on private property?
Mr. Sponsor.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman Clemens, effectively last year's bill banned booting in the state of Tennessee across the board unless a local ordinance adopted, a locality adopted an ordinance that conformed to last year's bill. No municipality did, so we just left it banned as is. Now, if they're illegally parked, they can be towed immediately at the owner's expense. So that's basically what the bill says.
Okay.
Chairman Clemens.
Would an amendment that carved out an exception for private multi-unit residential developments be considered friendly, or would you oppose that?
Representative McCallum.
And the bill that we passed last year was effectively to ban predatory booting. And that's essentially what we did. Respectfully, I wouldn't be open to amending it, sir.
Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All righty. Thank you. Chairman Lafferty.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was just curious, we're talking about big apartment complexes. This does not affect in any way private residential home that is used as a rental property where somebody maybe leaves a wrecked car out in front of it for weeks on end, or perhaps they leave the property and leave behind a vehicle. This would in no way affect someone's ability to get that wreck out of there, right?
Mr. Sponsor.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman Lafferty, no, it wouldn't.
All right. Thank you, Chairman. Thanks, Sponsor.
Representative Hardaway.
Thank you, Chairman, and good morning to the sponsor. So the amendment adds the U.S. mail as an option or in addition to the electronic portal.
Mr. Sponsor.
The portal, thank you, Chairman. The portal, Representative Hardaway, is separate from notification. Last year, we required a nationally recognized carrier to send out notification. The portal is for tracking vehicles that have been towed, particularly rental car vehicles that have been towed. It's kind of a separate item. When what was happening is a tow company would tow somebody's car. Owner had no idea where the car went. It would sit in that tow lot for a few months, and then the tow company, by law, they were required to send out notification that, hey, we're going to abandon and sell and take possession of your car and as our own under a lien sale. Excuse me. What we did last year was say that you can't use the U.S. mail because there was no proof of delivery and it was taking too long to get notification to the owners of that vehicle. We required a nationally recognized carrier. So, for example, UPS or FedEx, DHL. This year we came back and said that you can use U.S. mail as one of the options as long as it is 3 days or sooner.
All right, I don't
Representative Hardaway.
remember. Thank you, Chairman. I don't remember voting for UPS and DHL and in Tennessee. Does that apply to Tennessee too? We can have those two in addition to FedEx in Tennessee, sir? You know I'm from Memphis, Shelby County. No need to respond to that yet. Okay. But my serious question is on the 3-day delivery still stays in place. And if the notice is not accepted within that 3-day delivery period, if the recipient doesn't claim it, what happens?
Mr. Sponsor.
Thank you, Chairman. I would imagine that if the owner doesn't accept the piece of mail, just like if they were not going to accept or ignore the FedEx envelope that were to come to them, and they ignored it, the tow company, they would have the ability to, as they do today, to go through the process and the steps to take ownership of that vehicle and then sell it to regain the cost that they have into it for having stored it at their facility and towing it in and basically taking up space. So
Well, I'm going to ask you to revisit that.
Representative Hardaway.
Thank you. To revisit that sometime in the future, because I can imagine being on vacation and having a violation and then failing to respond in the time because I'm not at home.
Mr. Sponsor.
thank you, Chairman. Representative Hardaway, this is different than I've been on vacation for a week. This is after months of this vehicle sitting in a tow yard. The tow company now saying, hey, we need to clear this up. Most tow companies don't have more than a quarter acre of land to store cars on. This is after months of storing this car. They're saying, hey, you need to come get your car. We're going to take it. We're going to sell it. This is not I've been gone for 10 days on vacation, coming back, and now they're going to sell my car. That's different. That's not what this bill speaks to.
Representative, you good?
All right. Yeah, thank you for the clarification. I support the bill.
Sponsor, let me just see if I can shuck this down to the cob right quick. The predatory boot industry in Tennessee was so aggressive that they ruined it for those who used it legitimately, to where now the option for dealing with illegally parked cars is a tow company with established rules and procedures that have been in place in this state for years. Is that a fair synopsis of your bill?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, that would be a fair synopsis of the bill.
All righty. Thank you very much. Are we ready to vote? All right. All those Madam Clerk, would you prepare a board? All those in favor of sending House Bill 972 on to GovOps, please say aye, press green. All those that want to say no and press red, they're free to do so. All right, if you want to change your votes, please do. If not, Madam Clerk, close the board and read the results.
Mr. Chairman, you have 19 ayes, 2 noes.
All right, thank you very much. Representative McCalman, I enjoy you being here, but I do hope you pick a new subject matter for your next visit. This has been a long and winding road. Yes, sir, you're recognized.
Mr. Chairman, third time's a charm, and it's, again, always a pleasure to be on Commerce Cruise Lines. And with that, I think I'm going to go try to find the bocce court.
House Bill 972 is approved and goes to GovOps.
Thank you, Chairman. Committee.
Remember to tip your waiters. House Bill 860 by former member Representative Alexander. We've got a motion and a second.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, committee. And
Madam
I
Sponsor,
did
you have
not,
an amendment?
yes, but I did not realize how much I had missed being on Commerce until this morning. Well, yes, I do. My amendment is 3872.
Got a motion and a second. Let's get that thing attached. All those in favor of amendment number 1, which is coded 3872, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Your bill is amended, so please share with us what it does.
Yeah. Currently in Tennessee, law requires funeral directors to complete a 2-year program of school and apprenticeship. Under the proposed changes in House Bill 860, the pathway to licensure would become more flexible by permitting applicants to concurrently complete their apprenticeship alongside their educational requirements, which consist of 30 semester hours or 45 hours from a school accredited by the American Board of Funeral Service Education. And that is my bill. So we're going from 2 years to 1.
All righty. Do we have any questions for the sponsor? Seeing none, we're going to take a vote on House Bill 860 as amended. Madam Clerk, could you open our board up for voting, please? Everyone cast your vote on the board. If you want to say aye or nay, Chairman Clemens, I saw you press red and you didn't say nay. So that was an option for you. I understand. We appreciate that very much. Madam Clerk, let's close that board and call this vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 21 ayes, 0 noes.
I believe that qualifies for House Bill 860 to pass on to calendar and rules. Always a pleasure to see you.
Thank you. Miss you guys. Thank you.
House Bill 1384, after all the massaging and all of the work we did on it to clarify, Representative Harris, it's good to see you here. Are you aware, sir, that this thing got gen subbed in the Senate yesterday?
Yes, Chairman, and it is gen subbed until I guess we get it right on this side and make one correction around 1099s. So,
Oh, so they're thinking they're going to resurrect it?
so what I'll do, if I can get it done here, then we'll bring it back in January, first calendar January on the Senate side.
Let's get it done. All right, Speaker Pro Tem Marsh.
Representative Harris, I appreciate you working on that amendment and making it better. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Deputy Speaker Zachary.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative, I appreciate the work on this. And if you're committing to us that the Senate is committing to working on this, if we pass this legislation, Mr. Chairman, I would be all in favor of moving this forward if that's the will of the committee. Thank you.
All right, let's get this thing done. We can do our work on it and let the Senate know what our desires are with regards to this. So we have a few amendments. You have actually 4 that you're offering. Could you let us know which ones you're wanting to attach, sir?
Yes, Chairman, attaching 005488, which
Could you
005488.
stand by, committee. The technical issue here. Let me get back with you. All right. Previously, we had attached Amendment 1, which is coded 4370. It would not work with the new amendment 5488. So what we're going to do is we're going to vote to reconsider our actions on Amendment 1, strip it from the bill, and then attach the new amendment is the plan. We've got a motion and a second. All in favor of reconsidering our actions and removing Amendment 1 from House Bill 1384, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed, no. Those actions have been reconsidered, and so now we can accept Amendment number 3. We've got a motion and a second, which is bar-coded 5488. Any discussion on that amendment? Why don't you go ahead and fill us in on what that one does?
Yes, Chairman. And so this amendment here addresses one of the concerns from one of the members on the committee to make sure that employers are not required to always have the documentation readily available within 20 days, but that the request of an employee that they had 4 business days to be able to provide that request after an employee has asked for it. And then if they still don't get those documents at that point, then they have an additional 10 days after the employee reaches out to the state.
All right. Everyone hearing that explanation, ready to vote? All those in favor of attaching amendment coded 5488 to 1384, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Your bill is amended with that one. And why don't you talk to us about amendment number 4, which is coded 5614? Oh, that's my amendment.
Yeah.
Okay. Never mind. We're going to just act like that amendment does. My amendment, choose not to run it. So we're going to be discussing your bill as amended, and we have absolutely been through this a number of times. We appreciate the spirit of cooperation that you have exhibited as a bill sponsor, and we look forward to hopefully moving this thing out. Any further questions? Anybody? Any more conversation on it? If not, let's vote. All those in favor of sending House Bill 1384, it's going to GovOps from here. Please signify by saying aye, and let's get the board ready for voting. and cast your vote. Any changing of votes? If not, Madam Clerk, would you read the results?
Mr. Chairman, you have 23 ayes, 0 noes.
Okay, sir, you are off to GovOps and best of luck with the Senate.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, committee.
House Bill 1142, Chairman Boyd. Oh, you got a motion and a second, Chairman?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Don't get
Members-
nervous out there with the, with the boss lady sitting out there.
Mr. Chairman, House Bill 1142 simply changes the definition of a manufactured home to mirror Title 42 of the United States Code. Mr. Chairman, I'll take any questions.
Okay, there we go. Chairman Moon, you have a question?
Question on the bill, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, you would recognize that as a fair motion. Madam Clerk, would you prepare the board? All those in favor of House Bill 1142 passing on to calendar and rules, please signify by saying aye. And press green. Go ahead. All opposed? No. Anybody want to change their vote? Madam Clerk?
Mr. Chairman, you have 23 ayes, 0 noes.
Thank you very much, everyone. Chairman Boyd, you're off to calendar and rules. Hi, Representative Hale.
Good morning, sir.
House Bill 141.
Motion.
Sir, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chairman. House Bill 141 ensures that consumers are not unfairly charged for services they no longer use by prohibiting providers from billing for an additional cycle when cancellation occurs within the first half of the billing period. This legislation applies to telephone, cable, internet, broadband services. So with that, I stand for question.
Okay, anybody have any questions for our sponsor? Chairman Clements?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I can't help but notice that we have Representative Hale carrying this bill, and then we have Senator Hale carrying this bill. One of them spells their name wrong. Which is it?
That would be him, sir.
That's what I thought. Thank you.
House is always right.
All right. Great observation. Deputy Speaker Zachary.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Hale, thank you for the bill. I do have a question. So if a provider, Comcast, Spectrum, whomever, provides within their terms and conditions that the consumer has to give a 30-day notice before cancellation, because many of these providers put in there, they have to give a 30-day notice, and if they do not, then they are billed that additional 30 days because they do not give a notice. Is there any stipulation within the language that provides an exemption if they do clearly state out in their T's and C's that there is a 30-day requirement for cancellation of services, notification for cancellation of services?
Mr. Sponsor.
Thank you for that, Deputy Speaker. Actually, I had a conversation with Comcast over this, and they were 100% with it, because what was happening, just say if a person passed away or whatever, and they put a notification or notified that they wanted to end the services, they were not only just billed for that month, and they were billed for another month. So this reels that back in and keeps that from happening.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you,
Deputy
Mr. Chairman.
All righty. Hey, Representative Hayes. Good to see you, Chairman. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was going to tell Representative Clemens he can go to hell in the Senate and ask him that same question and see if he gets a similar reply. Thank you.
I was gonna say, and y'all thought I was spicy. Big man shows up going hard in the paint today. It's the hamburger scent. It's got us all on edge up here. Okay. Madam Clerk, would you prepare the board so we can get this thing voted? All those in favor of sending House Bill 141 to calendar and rules, please signify by saying yes, aye, voting green, one of the above. Any opposed? Press it red. If not, you don't want to change it. Madam Clerk, would you call the results?
Mr. Chairman, you have 23 ayes, 0 noes.
Thank you so much. Representative Hale, you are off to calendar and rules.
Thank you, Committee and Chair.
Hey, Representative Burkhardt, you're up next with House Bill 0700. We got a motion and a second. I also see you're traveling with an amendment.
Yes, sir, Chairman, 3873.
All right, we got a motion and a second on the amendment. Would you like for us to attach it before you begin?
Please.
All those in favor of attaching Amendment 1, coded 3873 to House Bill 700, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed, no. You're amended, sir. Tell us what we're doing here.
Thank you, Chairman. The Tennessee Realtors is bringing forth this legislation to amend the current law as it relates to continuing education for principal brokers. Currently, any principal broker licensed prior to January 1st, 2005 is exempt from continuing education of 16 hours. This bill simply, this legislation amends that provision and states that any principal broker licensed prior to January 1st, 2005 who supervises affiliate brokers will no longer be exempt from continuing education. And I'll try to answer any questions that anyone has.
Do we have any questions? And I'm just going to tell y'all, I'm going to make some friends mad by voting yes for this bill. But given the changes in the fluidity within the industry today, I think it's warranted. And so I'm supportive of your bill. Any questions for the sponsor? I weren't recognized. Representative Hardaway.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just going to ask Rep. Powers to make sure that we get a report back on that, whatever that word was you said.
Understood. Got it. Madam Clerk, would you prepare our board for voting? Everyone cast your vote. All right, you want to change your votes? Madam Clerk, please tally.
Mr. Chairman, you have 22 ayes, 1 no.
That's enough to win on a good day, Representative Burkhart. House Bill 700 is off to calendar and rules.
Thank you, Chairman and committee.
All right, folks, if anyone has any other business they want to bring in front of the committee, if not, hi, Chairman Clemens, before we adjourn. Chairman Clemens.
Sorry about that, Mr. Chairman. Sorry to hold everybody up. I was looking at this NCAA bracket and I saw Memphis, Lipscomb, Vanderbilt, Tennessee, and I was wondering if Representative Hastings could point us where Indiana is. I can't find it.
Representative Hastings, a retort.
There's a reason that we are getting a new coach, as was announced yesterday. Thank you.
All right. Good luck to all the Tennessee teams in the NCAA. And with that, folks, we are adjourned.